Have you ever wondered why some people seem to dislike you right away, even when you haven't done anything wrong? It can feel like, no matter how nice or polite you are, someone always gives you a cold look or acts distant. Why do some people feel this way about us without a clear reason? It's a tricky question, and the answer isn't always about what we say or do. Sometimes these feelings come from deeper things, like jealousy, personal insecurities, or simple misunderstandings that build up over time. Figuring out why others might feel this way about us isn't just interesting, it's also important for handling the relationships and social situations we deal with every day. In this video, we'll talk about 9 surprising reasons why someone might have negative feelings toward you. These ideas might help you see things differently and understand the people around you better. Before we start, I want to say a big thank you for all the support you've given me. Making these videos makes me so happy, and reading your kind and thoughtful comments means the world to me. I read every single one. If you're new here, don't forget to like this video and turn on notifications so YouTube can share this content with more people like you. Now, let's get started on this journey together. Are you ready? 1. Envy and jealousy. One of the most common reasons someone might feel hostile toward you is envy or jealousy. These emotions can damage relationships, turning admiration into dislike and respect into resentment. Jealousy often arises when someone sees something in you, whether it's success, achievements, or even your personality or lifestyle, that they wish they had but feel they can't achieve. In many cases, jealousy and envy stem from a person's unhappiness with their own life. Instead of feeling inspired by your success or happy for you, they see your accomplishments as a reminder of what they feel they lack. This can lead to frustration and resentment, sometimes even making them wish for your failure as a way to ease their own feelings of inadequacy. The harmful side of envy and jealousy is that it can push people to act in negative ways, like spreading rumors, gossiping, or trying to undermine your success. They might try to discredit your work or damage your reputation, all because they've built up an image of you in their mind that makes them feel insecure. It's important to remember that these feelings of envy and jealousy are not your fault. They reflect the struggles of the person feeling them, not anything you've done wrong. While it's easy to take their hostility personally, you are not responsible for someone else's dissatisfaction or insecurities. Your achievements and qualities shouldn't be diminished just because someone else is struggling with their own inner challenges. As the philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't worry about things outside your control. Other people's jealousy and envy are beyond your control, and it's better to focus on what you can control, your own actions, thoughts, and responses." Recognizing that jealousy is often the root of someone's negative behavior can help you handle these situations with more understanding and confidence. Learning how to deal with envy and jealousy in a calm and mature way is an important skill. It allows you to protect your peace of mind and stay focused on your own growth, both personally and professionally. 2. Misunderstandings and ineffective communication. Misunderstandings and poor communication are another major reason why people might develop negative feelings toward you. Even small misunderstandings can grow into lasting resentment. At the core of these issues is often a gap between what we mean to say and how others interpret it. Misunderstandings happen when there's a disconnect between the speaker's intention and the listener's perception. A single poorly chosen word, a misunderstood tone, or even an unintended facial expression can leave the wrong impression. Over time, these small communication mistakes can create emotional walls, leading others to see you as rude, distant, or even unfriendly, even if that wasn't your intention. Good communication is essential in any relationship. Without it, conflicts and misunderstandings can easily arise. Negative feelings often come from not being able to clearly express thoughts or emotions, which leaves room for misinterpretation. On the other hand, failing to actively listen to others can also cause problems. When we don't take the time to truly understand someone's perspective, it's easy to make incorrect assumptions or judgments. These misunderstandings can go beyond simple disagreements and create a foundation for negative emotions to grow. When people feel misjudged or misunderstood, they may start to view the relationship through the lens of these communication failures. What starts as a small misunderstanding can eventually lead to distrust, frustration, or even hostility, distorting the relationship and creating unnecessary tension. This is why it's so important to recognize how misunderstandings and ineffective communication can lead to negative feelings. To avoid unnecessary resentment, we need to focus on clear, open, and honest communication. When there's uncertainty, give others the benefit of the doubt and try to see things from their perspective. By seeking clarity and being mindful of how we communicate, we can prevent misunderstandings and build stronger, more positive relationships. 3. Differences in fundamental values and beliefs. Another reason people might secretly hold negative feelings toward you is differences in values and beliefs. Each of us has a unique perspective, shaped by our upbringing, culture, experiences, and personal philosophies. These differences can sometimes create tension, especially when our values or beliefs conflict with those of others. When someone sees your values as opposing their own, it can lead to feelings of discomfort, judgment, or even hostility. For instance, if you prioritize ambition and personal growth, while someone else values stability and tradition, they might see your choices as a challenge to their worldview. Similarly, differing opinions on sensitive topics like politics, religion, or lifestyle choices can create unspoken tension, even if these differences are never directly addressed. The problem is that people often interpret differences in values as a personal attack or a sign of incompatibility. Instead of viewing diversity as an opportunity to learn and grow, they may feel defensive or threatened. This defensiveness can show up as subtle resentment or even open hostility, even if you've done nothing to intentionally provoke it. It's important to understand that you can't control how others perceive your values or beliefs. What you can control is how you respond to these differences. Stoicism encourages us to approach such situations with empathy and understanding. By respecting others' perspectives, even when they differ from our own, we can create an environment of mutual respect and reduce the chances of conflict. At the same time, it's crucial to stay true to your own values and not compromise your principles just to please others. As the philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "Know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly." Embrace your individuality while remaining open to learning from others. Differences in values don't have to lead to negativity. They can also open the door to meaningful conversations and personal growth. 4. The influence of rumors and gossip. The impact of gossip and rumors is another significant reason why people might secretly dislike you. Gossip has a way of twisting the truth, spreading half-truths, and creating false impressions about who you are. Unfortunately, once a negative story about you starts circulating, it can be very difficult to undo the damage, even if the information is completely false. People are naturally drawn to gossip because it creates a sense of connection and shared experience. However, this often comes at the expense of the person being talked about. When someone hears negative things about you, whether it's about your personality, actions, or intentions, they may form an opinion based on these second-hand stories rather than their own experiences. This can lead to unwarranted dislike or resentment, even if they've never interacted with you personally. The truth is, gossip often says more about the person spreading it than the person being discussed. Those who engage in gossip may do so out of jealousy, insecurity, or a need to feel superior. By tearing others down, they try to elevate themselves in the eyes of others. Unfortunately, this behavior can have long-lasting effects on the person being targeted, creating misunderstandings and damaging reputations. If you find yourself the target of gossip, it's important to remember that you can't control what others say about you. What you can control is how you respond. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own actions and character rather than being consumed by the opinions of others. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Instead of trying to fight every rumor or defend yourself against every piece of gossip, focus on living with integrity. Over time, your actions will speak louder than any false words others may spread. By staying true to your values and maintaining your composure, you can rise above the negativity and let your character and actions prove who you truly are. 5. Personal insecurities and projection. Personal insecurities are another key reason why people might secretly dislike you. When someone feels inadequate or insecure about themselves, they often project those feelings onto others. This projection can show up as resentment, jealousy, or even hostility, especially if they see you as having qualities they lack or wish they had. For instance, if someone struggles with self-confidence and perceives you as confident and self-assured, they might feel threatened or inferior around you. Similarly, if they're unhappy with their own achievements, they may resent your success, even if you've done nothing to provoke such feelings. It's important to remember that these insecurities are not about you. They're a reflection of their own internal struggles. The difficulty is that many people don't recognize or admit their insecurities. Instead of addressing their feelings of inadequacy, they may project them outward by criticizing or finding fault in others. This can lead to unfair judgments, passive-aggressive behavior, or even attempts to undermine you. It's a way for them to avoid facing their own vulnerabilities. If you're on the receiving end of this behavior, it's helpful to approach the situation with empathy and understanding. Stoicism reminds us that other people's actions are often driven by their own inner battles, not by anything we've done. Recognizing this can help you avoid taking their negativity personally and allow you to respond with patience and compassion. That said, it's also important to set boundaries and protect your own well-being. While empathy is valuable, you don't have to accept toxic behavior or let someone else's insecurities affect your life. Focus on maintaining your self-worth and staying true to your values, regardless of how others may feel about you. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By staying grounded and responding with wisdom, you can handle these situations with grace and preserve your inner peace. 6. Lack of empathy and understanding. A lack of empathy is another reason why people might secretly dislike you. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, is essential for building healthy relationships. When empathy is missing, it becomes easy for misunderstandings, judgments, and resentment to take root. Some people may dislike you simply because they fail to see things from your perspective. They might misinterpret your actions, words, or intentions because they are unable or unwilling to put themselves in your shoes. This lack of understanding can lead to unfair assumptions about your character or motives, creating unnecessary tension and hostility. A lack of empathy can also make it hard for others to appreciate your struggles, challenges, or achievements. For instance, someone who hasn't faced the same difficulties as you might dismiss your efforts or accomplishments, seeing them as unimportant or undeserved. This inability to connect with your experiences can lead to resentment, even if you've done nothing wrong. In some cases, people lack empathy because they are too focused on their own problems or insecurities. When someone is consumed by their own struggles, they may have little emotional energy left to consider the feelings or perspectives of others. This self-centeredness can create a barrier to understanding and, ultimately, negative feelings toward you. As a Stoic, it's important to recognize that you cannot control how empathetic others are. What you can control is your own response. By practicing empathy yourself, you can set an example and create opportunities for better understanding. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? At the same time, it's important to accept that not everyone will be able or willing to understand you. Instead of seeking validation or approval from others, focus on living with integrity and staying true to your values. By doing so, you can maintain your inner peace and handle these challenges with wisdom and grace. 7. Competition or rivalry. Competition is another reason why people might secretly dislike you. In many areas of life, whether at work, in social settings, or even within families, people often compare themselves to others. This sense of competition can lead to feelings of rivalry, jealousy, and resentment, especially if they see you as more successful, talented, or admired than they are. When someone feels like they're competing with you, they may view your achievements as a threat to their own self-esteem. Instead of celebrating your success, they might feel diminished by it, as though your accomplishments highlight their own perceived shortcomings. This can result in subtle hostility, passive-aggressive behavior, or even attempts to undermine you. The issue with this kind of competition is that it's often rooted in insecurity and a scarcity mindset, the belief that there's only a limited amount of success, recognition, or happiness to go around. When people think this way, they see others' achievements as something that takes away from their own potential, rather than as a source of inspiration or an opportunity to collaborate. If you find yourself on the receiving end of this competitive resentment, it's important to remember that you can't control how others perceive your success. What you can control is how you respond. Stoicism encourages us to focus on our own actions and values, rather than getting caught up in comparisons or the opinions of others. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Instead of engaging in rivalry or trying to prove yourself, focus on your own growth and goals. At the same time, practice humility and generosity. Celebrate others' successes and offer support when you can. By doing so, you can help shift the dynamic from competition to collaboration. Remember, true confidence comes from within, and you don't need to compete with others to validate your worth. 8. The influence of social expectation. Social expectations and norms are another reason why people might secretly dislike you. Society often imposes unwritten rules about how we should act, what we should value, and how we should live our lives. When you choose to deviate from these expectations, whether intentionally or not, it can make others feel uncomfortable or even resentful. For instance, if you take a path in life that goes against the norm, such as pursuing an unconventional career, rejecting traditional milestones, or prioritizing personal freedom over societal approval, some people may see your choices as a challenge to their own way of life. Even if you've never criticized their decisions, they might feel judged or invalidated simply because you've chosen to live differently. This discomfort often comes from a fear of the unknown or a strong desire to conform. Many people find comfort and security in following societal norms, and they may feel threatened by those who break away from them. Your independence or refusal to conform can act as a mirror, forcing them to question their own choices or beliefs, which can lead to resentment. Additionally, social expectations can pressure people to behave in ways that don't align with their true feelings. For example, someone might feel obligated to dislike you because of group dynamics, peer pressure, or cultural norms, even if they don't have a personal reason to do so. This can result in shallow or insincere relationships where negative feelings are hidden but still present. As a Stoic, it's important to understand that you cannot control societal expectations or how others react to your choices. What you can control is your commitment to living authentically and staying true to your values. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." By remaining true to yourself and respecting others' right to live as they choose, you can handle these challenges with integrity. Remember, it's not your job to meet everyone's expectations. It's your job to live a life that reflects who you truly are. 9. Lack of recognition. A lack of recognition is another reason why people might secretly dislike you. Everyone has a natural desire to feel valued, appreciated, and acknowledged for their efforts. When people feel overlooked or unappreciated, it can lead to resentment, even if you didn't intentionally ignore them. For instance, if someone believes they've supported you, helped you, or contributed to your success in some way, but feel they haven't received the recognition they deserve, they may begin to harbor negative feelings toward you. This resentment often comes from their own unmet expectations or a sense of being undervalued. Similarly, people may dislike you if they perceive that you receive more recognition or praise than they do, even if it's well earned. This can spark feelings of jealousy or inadequacy, especially if they compare their own efforts to yours and feel they fall short. In these cases, their resentment is less about you and more about their own insecurities and need for validation. If you find yourself on the receiving end of this kind of resentment, it's helpful to approach the situation with empathy and self-awareness. While you can't control how others feel, you can make an effort to acknowledge and appreciate the people around you. A simple thank you or a sincere compliment can go a long way in making others feel valued and reducing potential resentment. At the same time, it's important to remember that you are not responsible for meeting everyone's expectations or managing their emotions. Stoicism reminds us to focus on our own actions and intentions rather than trying to control external outcomes. As Epictetus wisely said, "Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves." By practicing gratitude, humility, and kindness, you can help foster positive relationships and reduce unnecessary conflict. However, it's also important to accept that not everyone will like you, no matter how considerate or fair you try to be. Focus on living a life of integrity and let your actions speak for themselves. In conclusion, it's essential to accept that not everyone will like you, and that's perfectly okay. Often, people's negative feelings toward you are more about their own insecurities, misunderstandings, or personal struggles than anything you've done. By understanding the reasons behind these feelings, you can approach such situations with empathy, patience, and wisdom. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control, our own actions, thoughts, and responses, rather than being consumed by the opinions of others. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. Instead of trying to change how others feel about you, focus on living with integrity, staying true to your values, and treating others with kindness and respect. At the same time, it's important to set boundaries and prioritize your own well-being. While it's helpful to understand why someone may dislike you, you don't have to accept toxic behavior or let it undermine your self-worth. Your value is not defined by others' opinions, but by how you choose to live your life. Ultimately, the best way to navigate these challenges is to stay grounded in your principles and approach every interaction with compassion and understanding. By doing so, you can rise above negativity, protect your inner peace, and continue to grow into the best version of yourself.